Davy. I'm awesome. And welcome to Davy's Awesome Movies, where I review the styles of movies that I love, the alternative, B-rated, cult-style flicks. And my love for movies that most people generally don't like extends to Christmas movies too, because this is one of those Christmas movies I seek out every year. This movie was released in 2000, and it was directed by John Frankenheimer, and written by Aaron Kruger, produced by Marty Katz, Bob Weinstein, and Chris Moore, made by Dimension Films, and distributed by Miramax. Ladies and gentlemen, Reindeer Games. By the way, I'm reviewing the director's cut. The movie opens with our lead, Rudy Duncan, played by Ben Affleck, and his friend in prison, Nick Cassidy, played by James Frain. Rudy is narrating to us that he is a car thief, which is why he's in prison, but he's about to get out in a couple days, along with his friend Nick. Nick and Rudy are talking about what they're going to do when they get out of prison in a couple days. Rudy says the first thing he wants to do is get a mug of hot chocolate and some pecan pie, which sounds amazing. Whereas Nick is excited to meet his prison pen pal.
She got us a motel on Highway 5.
Good luck, dude. More than likely you're getting catfished. She's probably going to look like this. No! Rudy warns Nick about this and offers to screen the girl for him.
I think I'll take my chances with Ashley.
The girl's name is Ashley. Sounds scandalous. Nick is reading Rudy some of the letters that Ashley had written him, and Rudy's even looking at the pictures of Ashley that she sent him. Ashley is played by Charlize Theron, which, Nick, that should be a huge red flag. You really think that girl can't find anybody better? She's going to have to resort to writing prisoners? But Nick is convinced that this is actually Ashley, and talks about how she's a big step up from the girl that got him into prison, Millie Bobek. He got into an altercation where somebody accidentally died over his girlfriend Millie Bobek at the bar she used to work at. But then again, does that really surprise you? I mean, this is the sister of Mimi we're talking about. Then in one scene, we get two cameos. The late Isaac Hayes, who plays an inmate named Zook, who freaks out and starts a riot over cockroaches in his jello. And ex-NFL player Dana Stubblefield, who plays a big, huge monster of a prisoner named the Alamo. I guess that's so we would remember him. The Alamo is mad at Rudy because he thinks that Rudy snitched on him and thinks that he is the reason that he had gotten put into solitary confinement, which he just got out of. So he's coming after Rudy!
Rudy, watch out!
But luckily for Rudy, the guards get to the Alamo before he gets to Rudy. Nick wasn't so lucky.
God!
They're a little busy getting the Alamo away from you. Rudy is told by a guard that Nick did not make it. So Rudy is getting out of prison by himself. Outside the prison gates, he does see Ashley, who was there waiting for Nick. It does turn out to be the very girl from the pictures. And now Rudy is having a bit of a conundrum. Does he pretend to be Nick and go get Ashley, or does he just get on the prison bus and go home?
Don't do it, Rudy.
Yes, don't do it. Only a sociopath would do something like that. So what does he do?
I'm Nick.
I ain't taking back what I said. They go to a diner and talk, and Ashley questions what happened to his curly hair that he described himself as having. He says it only gets curly when it gets long, and he can let it grow out if she wants him to.
They want you to be who you want to be.
Oh, he's already doing that! But then again, thinking about it, sure, pretending to be Nick is a little bit psycho, but this is Charlize Theron we're talking about. So Rudy and Ashley waste no time. They finish their coffee and head to the motel to celebrate Nick getting out of prison. But at this point, we gotta wonder, what was Nick's plan? Tag her and bag her? Or just pretend to be Nick for the rest of his life? After they finish celebrating, they bring up the letters that he had written her in prison, and he talks about a cellmate who actually helped him write some of the letters.
He's a good guy, actually. You'd like him.
Yeah, great guy. Is that your plan? Build up Rudy, and then at some point be like, oh, by the way. The next morning, Rudy throws out his ID. And then Ashley takes him shopping for clothes that she buys.
Just till the holidays, Nick. You know, we'll let her have her holidays.
You're a saint. When they get back to the motel, though, Rudy gets a surprise.
Girl.
Hi, Nick.
Maybe you should have stayed Rudy.
Welcome home, Nick.
And there we have the lead villain, Gabriel, played by Gary Sinise, and his men, Merlin, played by Clarence Williams III, Pug, played by Donald Logue, and Jumpy, played by Danny Trejo. So say what you want about this movie, but it had a great cast. Now Ashley comes in.
Ashley!
I'm bringing in the tree! Yeah!
Okay, I have nothing against plastic trees. I have one myself, but at least get one that's green.
Hey, sis.
Gabriel's her brother. Gabriel wants Nick for the fact that he used to work security at an Indian casino. So, to get out of it, Rudy tells him he's not Nick. He only made up that he was Nick when he got out of prison to get with Ashley.
And you think telling me that's gonna help your cause?
Clearly you didn't think that through.
Don't play no reindeer games with me.
Ah, he said it! Lieutenant Dan said it! They get out to the middle of nowhere, and Rudy is very mad at Ashley for setting up Nick. Ashley swears that she didn't mean to set him up, but also swears that her brother Gabriel has killed people and will kill him. But he continues to tell Ashley and Gabriel and everybody that he is not Nick, he can't help them at all, and they should just let him go.
All right! What do you want to know?
Seriously, what did you think they were going to do? Just go like, oh, well, if it's not you, then I guess that's that. No hard feelings. Merry Christmas. But Pug has something to say.
Monster. He's not the guy.
You weren't supposed to be the guy either. Originally, your part was supposed to be played by Vin Diesel. His point is, though, that he heard him telling Ashley that he's not Nick inside the back of that truck cab. And he understands why he would lie to all of them, but why would he lie to her? So to test him, they ask him questions about Ashley from the letters that she had written to Nick. But luckily, Nick had always read those letters to Rudy, so he was able to answer them enough to convince him that he is Nick. But before he helps them, he wants something first.
I want some hot chocolate.
And pecan pie! This movie always makes me want some hot chocolate and pecan pie. After he finishes his hot chocolate and pecan pie, they hand him a map of the casino from their time casing it. And he looks at it and says they must have remodeled the casino like his boss, Jack Bangs, had been talking about doing for years. So, because of that, he can't really help him.
I guess we don't need you then.
Want to try again? So now he tells them that if they get him inside with a disguise, he can case it and figure out very quickly what they need to do.
What do you say to Santa's dwarves?
It's elves.
You're sending me into an Indian casino dressed like a cowboy.
Oh, the irony. But then again, when I lived in California, I lived very close to a couple of Indian casinos. And let me tell you something, they don't care what you come in there looking like. You could come in looking like a nerd like me or a cowboy. All they care about is that you got some money. Inside the casino, Rudy encounters the casino boss, Jack Bangs.
How you doing, cowboy? How are you?
Jack Bangs is played by Dennis Farina. Rest in peace. And like I said, this movie had a hell of a cast. Rudy goes to the restroom, where Merlin, who's in there watching Rudy, asks a cocktail waitress, who claims that she's worked there since the place opened, when they got their remodel.
Tell him how it's been the same ever since I started, buddy. It's the losers that change.
So Merlin goes after Rudy. Who was that kid?
Oh man! It's your jacket. You can have it.
Yes, it's Ashton Kutcher. Yes, he was already famous from doing that 70s show. It's just another cameo. So after that clever ruse, Rudy takes off. Makes a huge run for it, but it is icy, it is snowy, they have vehicles, they're right on his tail. Ashley stops Gabriel from shooting him.
Come on.
Well, at least you two have made up, and isn't that what the holidays are all about? But as they're running, they go across a frozen lake. Well, try explaining that to Mom at the next Thanksgiving. Rudy goes into the water after her, like a regular Jack Dawson, and he's able to get her out, but by that point, the others have caught up. An ice fisherman who was nearby in his shack hears the commotion and comes out to see if they need any help, but retreats right back to his shack when he realizes they all got guns and this is not like a little hunting trip. I'm just saying right now, if the ice is really weak enough for them to fall through that easily, then it's not frozen enough for you to be doing that ice fishing. Now, at this point in the theatrical cut, that's it. We see him shoot the shack, and we kind of wonder, did the guy die or not? In the director's cut, they answer the question. I guess test audiences just didn't like this part. They thought it was cold. At the hotel, Gabriel is venting some of his frustration with Rudy right now. He's throwing darts at him. Rudy swears he'll cooperate, he'll do whatever he wants. Just begs, please, do not start trying to hit me with those darts.
I've been trying to hit you.
Of course, before getting back to the map and everything, they let him rest a little bit.
Get out! Get out! Just get out!
You know, he was just in water underneath ice in Michigan, middle of December. You might want to get him out of those wet clothes before he dies of hypothermia. He tells her about how he, Nick, would read her letters to Rudy.
I think he fell in love with you too.
Aww. You still should have just gotten on the frickin' bus. Now that he's warmed up, it's time to get to the heist. Rudy tells them in order for them to do this correctly, they're going to need 6 people, including him and Ashley. Gabriel's okay with Ashley being a part of it, but not Rudy.
You need 6, Gabriel.
Rudy also says that he needs a gun, which they say no to, but he insists that he's going to need one, and that they need a way to get in there with not only disguising themselves, but coming off as non-threatening at first. But apparently Gabriel and his crew already have that planned.
'Tis the season, convict.
They take him back to his room so he can draw them a map of the security office that he's never actually been to. But it turns out Rudy snuck a dart in there that he's using to unscrew his bed frame so he can get out of the cuff and get out of there. He goes around searching for stuff, does find a knife, but he also finds Ashley and Gabriel in the pool and overhears them talking. Ashley is telling Gabriel that Rudy now wants to help and be part of this. Gabriel's surprised that he actually wants some of the money.
No, baby. He wants me.
They're not brother and sister! They're boyfriend and girlfriend! A twist! Rudy is ready to leave, but as he leaves, he sees Pug and Merlin. So he quickly has to get back to his room and get himself back to being chained up. However, he does not have a key. Like I'd said, he had found a knife, and he uses that knife to hotwire the door of the hotel room. Because apparently he can hotwire cars means he can hotwire a door. Yeah, okay. I'm sure they're the exact same thing. Now it's time to check out, and it turns out they found a gun for Rudy. A toy gun.
Well, now, look at what Santa's dwarves have brought you.
Elves. Santa's elves. Not dwarves. Dwarves, elves. There is a difference. In the truck, Pug has an offering for Rudy.
Relax. Have a drink.
So Rudy takes that opportunity to load up his gun. That'll come back later. So the plan is they go in as Santas that all say that they just got off working at whatever mall or store they were at, because it's Christmas Eve, and now they just want to do some gambling. And Rudy, as Santa, is going to start causing a scene that will bring out the guards. So after this distraction, it's time to start going after the money. Pug goes to the counting room because Rudy told him that there would only be one guard in there, and he would be unarmed. And you're stupid for believing him. Duh! Like seriously, at a casino you think the guy in the counting room doesn't have a gun? You know though, this is the first of 2 times that Donald Logue has died dressed as Santa. The tribal cops show up, but Ashley, who was outside keeping watch, takes care of that. But upstairs, Gabriel wants Jack's powwow safe that Rudy had told him about. He also reunites Jack with Nick.
Not the Cassidy.
Well, this is awkward. But then again, it wouldn't have been if you would have listened to him. Of course, Rudy has to gloat a little bit.
Rudy Duncan, honey. We still gonna spend Christmas together.
But Rudy does swear that Nick had told him about the powwow safe that is in Jack's office. So Gabriel makes Jack get up and open his powwow safe.
Powwow.
By powwow, he wasn't meaning money. Jumpy is down, so now it's just Ashley, Gabriel, and Merlin. Gabriel and Ashley get away, so Jack goes after them. So now it's come down to Rudy and Merlin. Well, that's unfortunate.
What do you say to Santa's dwarves?
Elves! Elves! Why is that so hard? They are elves! Yeah! Although I gotta say, Truth.com is really upping their game. people in movies always catch on fire and fall out the window? Like, do you think the audience doesn't believe they're going to die just by catching on fire? Like, we're sitting here going like, oh, he just caught on fire. He'd be fine. Oh, he fell out the window. Okay, now he's dead. As far as Ashley and Gabriel are concerned, they ain't got a problem with Jack. Gabriel and Ashley get to Rudy before he can get away. Again, they take him to a cliff where they're going to make it seem like he just took off with the money and hit some ice and went over the cliff. Rudy makes Ashley feel guilty by telling her how Nick loved her so much, even though she was planning to screw him over.
Guy takes a shit for you, you go chasing his girlfriend?
Rudy and Gabriel caught that. Rudy had told them that he had died. He never said how. He never said it was helping him. He never said it was a shiv. All he said was that he died.
Men.
Oh, I see how this is going to go. Now her and Rudy are going to fight, and Gabriel is going to come back at the last minute and save the day, sort of. Okay, maybe not. But how did she know? No. No way, no. I don't care how smart he is. There's no way he could have planned it to this level. This twist is just way too improbable.
I want you to meet Millie Ballback.
Oh wow, you look nothing like your sister Mimi. Nick goes into his big master plan, how he had his girlfriend Millie change her name and get friendly with some gun-running truckers so that she could convince them of her plan to write a guy in prison and find out if they can get some kind of heist going, which she lucked out. And then in prison, he paid the alimony to just do a quick little slash across the ribs and paid a guard to spread the word that he was dead. That way he could get Rudy to take Millie, and they could convince Rudy to help with the robbery because he's been feeding him stories the entire time they've been in prison together. And again, I don't care how smart you are. There's no way you could have plotted that. There's just too many variables. I mean, how did you know he would even go for it?
Every time I read her letters, Rudy, you listened.
Oh, well, I guess... No, still no.
If you hadn't taken the bait, you should have just had to convince them they could do it alone.
Well, I guess that was a backup plan, but still... No.
6 months of telling you tomahawk stories.
You can keep explaining your plan. I'm still going to sit here and say no. But Rudy is now working on his way out of this situation. As he's cutting the straps off, he's now getting ready to hotwire the car.
Rule 1! Never put a car thief behind the wheel!
That's not rule number 1. Rule number 1 is... Well, I'm not supposed to talk about it. That's also rule number 2. By the way, how does Nick feel about Rudy starting the car? He's crushed. As far as Millie, her feelings, well, it drives her over the edge. Nick is still alive in the back of the semi. Well, that's done. As far as the money goes, Rudy starts walking home, and every mailbox he's passing on the way to his home, he's putting stacks of cash in there. You know, Rudy, I'm just gonna say this. Just because you stole it and then gave it away doesn't make it less illegal. Your best bet would have just been to leave the money there. Especially because with you putting them in every mailbox on your way home, you're kind of giving them a trail back to you. But he makes it home.
I never was much for the holidays. Until now.
That's nice. But you're probably going back to prison. So there you have it. That's Reindeer Games. And again, I did the director's cut. This movie was not successful at all. It had a $42 million budget and did $32.2 million in the box office. So it lost quite a bit. However, one big reason for that. This movie was released in February of the year 2000. It was supposed to be released in December 1999. But when they showed it to test audiences, they had a few problems with a few things in the script, so they had to do some last-minute edits and reshoots, and it didn't come out until February. And most people want to see Christmas movies before Christmas, not after. Like I said, the movie got mixed reviews from test audiences, so they shot it and reshot it, and not only did it come out a little bit later, but a lot of people really didn't care for the theatrical release. It wasn't until 2012 that we got the director's cut, which most people like a lot better. Some other things about this movie, as I mentioned in the review, that Pug was originally supposed to be played by Vin Diesel. There's conflicting stories on why he actually left the project, though. He was cast as Pug, they were about to start shooting, And Vin Diesel says that they just had disagreements about his character in the script, so he just walked. According to Danny Trejo, though, he actually left to go film Fast and the Furious Part 1. Which, if that's true, then that was definitely a good move for Vin Diesel, because that's the movie that really made him an international star, and that series of movies have been very successful. For some reason. Charlize Theron didn't like this movie either. She's gone on record to say that this was her worst film she ever made. She said she only actually did it because she loves John Frankenheimer. But I'm sorry, I gotta say something. Did you say that this was the worst film you ever did? You were in Mad Max Fury Road. You were in Snow White and the Huntsman. You were in Hancock. You were in Aeon Flux. All of those movies were way worse than this. Funny enough, in Europe this movie was released as Deception, because apparently reindeer are not very popular out there. Still seems weird though, because they're not very popular or common in Europe, but I'm pretty sure they know what reindeer are. That would be like if you wanted to call a movie The Koala Games and say, but we can't do that in America because koalas aren't in America. We know what they are. Now here's the thing. I really like this movie. I really liked the theatrical cut. I love the director's cut even more. But I can't say a lot of the criticism wasn't without merit. The criticisms of this movie have been rampant. Most critics don't like it. Most fans, I will agree, don't like it. Because they can't see past the fact that there are some really obvious flaws in this script. For example, the big reveal at the end. I wouldn't say killed the movie for me when I first saw it, but even the first time I saw it was like, no way you could have plotted all of this. Sure, you could sit there and try to pull strings and whatnot to get Rudy to go after Ashley, but there's no way you could have known he would have done it. There's no way you could have known she could have convinced these people to do it if he didn't go for it. It was just a big no. That twist was just really hard to believe. That's kind of what killed it for a lot of people, was that ending. It was like they were trying too hard to have a really big twist ending, and it hurt. So like I said, whereas I think that the common criticism on this movie isn't unfounded, it's still a really good movie in my opinion. It's got a lot of action, a lot of drama. The pacing of the movie is great, and honestly, I think the cast works really well together. It had a great cast. I mean, just to recap, Clarence Williams III, Donald Logue, Danny Trejo, Gary Sinise, Ben Affleck, Charlize Theron, Dennis Farina. They all worked very, very well together. They were all really good actors. And the story itself, up until the end, was not very bad at all. So honestly, I would say that if you can put that stuff aside, then definitely check out Reindeer Games. Do it this Christmas. So there you have it. That's my movie review this week. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And if you did, make sure to hit like, hit subscribe, hit that little bell so you get notifications when I post new videos, and leave a comment. Tell me what you thought of Reindeer Games. Tell me if you like the theatrical cut or director's cut. Tell me if you're among those people who just can't get over the ending. Love you guys.